cold in St. Louis. NBC's Maggie Vespa says it's another day of frigid weather.
The wind chills this morning were hovering in the sub-zero territory yet again. It is absolutely painful out here.
The National Weather Service says this Arctic cold front will be plunging into the U.S. starting today and could bring more record-setting cold temperatures. Forecasters say the polar plunge could extend as far south as the Florida Panhandle, with lows dipping into the 20s and even teens in some places. Wind chill temperatures could drop below zero in some parts of the south. It's expected that the cold front could also bring more snow to cities from St. Louis to Boston. Former GOP presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy is urging Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley to drop out of the race. In an interview with Fox News, Ramaswamy said the pair should step aside and endorse former President Trump. The comments come a day after Ramaswamy dropped out of the race after a poor showing in the Iowa caucus. DeSantis made a pit stop in South Carolina before his return to New Hampshire. Thomas Cage with the story.
Presidential candidate Ron DeSantis made an appearance at the South Carolina State House Tuesday, joining state legislative leaders for a press conference. DeSantis addressed gender transitioning procedures, Nikki Haley, and Donald Trump. He says that gender transitioning for minors is wrong and claiming that a man cannot become a woman. DeSantis also said that President Trump and former Governor Nikki Haley owe New Hampshire a debate with him before the primary later this month.
Watch me dance.
Dua Lipa, Billie Eilish, and Olivia Rodrigo are performing at the 2024 Grammy Awards. A Recording Academy revealed today that three of today's biggest pop stars will be treating fans with performances of their hits on February 4th. Michael Kastner, NBC News Radio.
Zambrano Plumbing in Riverside would like to thank all the local men and women in our armed forces who risk their lives daily to preserve our freedom and way of life. God bless America. This reminder courtesy of Zambrano Plumbing in Riverside. They're the professionals serving the area with quality, integrity, and dependability. For service or an estimate, call Zambrano Plumbing at 909-772-9939.
For over a century, AM radio has evolved to meet the needs of our community. More than 80 million listeners depend on AM radio each month. It's also the backbone of the emergency alert system, keeping us safe in dangerous times. A new bill in Congress would ensure this free, reliable service remains in cars. Text AM to 52886 and tell Congress to support the AM Radio for Every Vehicle Act.
Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to stop.
This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
What would you do if you had a broken bone? You'd go to the doctor and use your insurance, right? Well, what would you do if you have a serious problem with drugs and alcohol? Most people do nothing until it's way too late. Your insurance can help you get clean and sober with the assistance of a place like the Detox and Treatment Helpline. Many times, addiction treatment is fully covered. So why not use your insurance to treat your addiction problem just like you would if you had a broken bone? And with the Family Medical Leave Act, you're allowed to take time off by law, and your employer doesn't need to know the reason. So there are two good reasons. You've got insurance you can use for your addiction problem, and with the Family Medical Leave Act, it's completely confidential. Call now, 800-398-7414. That's 800-398-7414.
The Tri-City Shopping Center in Redlands is serving up some really cool ice cream at La Micho Acana. Then get your chocolates and other delights from See's Candies. Moms and future moms who visit the mall can cool off and relax while they get treated like royalty at Shiny Nails or Francis Nails and then pampered at Texture Hair. The Tri-City Center is filled with retailers who care about you. Shop at the Tri-City Center in Redlands and see why they call it the mall with a heart.
KCAA.
Just sit right back and you'll hear a tale of a fateful trip that started from this tropic point.
When I go, I'm gone. Are you lonely?
No.
Nah, I knew that was going to be
But
the answer.
I surround myself with people. I mean, I'm always the one cooking for things. But I'm always the one that decorates first and come to my house. All the orphans that have no place.
I'm going to have no place to go, so
Okay,
I can come
okay,
over.
come on over.
And life is so amazing if we can see it.
Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And good morning. This is Dr. Marissa, and you are tuned into Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with me every weekday morning here on KCAA, NBC News, CNBC News, and NBC Sports Radio Station, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, TuneIn, Amazon Music, Audible, Tiki Live, Spreaker, Streaker, Podchaser, you name it, I am here, splattering more hope and happiness on you, and balancing out all the bad news out there with some good news and good people. And I'm so grateful that y'all still are here, even though I have not been for the first break ever, where I was down under in Australia, but I am back. Flew in yesterday, and so anything that I say that sounds weird, I'm using that as a premeditated excuse, but I'm so glad that you're here. If you haven't already, free subscribe to my YouTube TV channel, please do, so then you get to be like Maria, who is here this morning saying hello and can comment and speak to anything that we're about to say. And let me just introduce my very special co-host on Wednesday. She is Dr. Tiffany Tate, a U.S. Navy veteran. So, she's a published author, retired OBGYN from Compton, California, playwright, singer, poet, songwriter, and more. She's the author of several books, including an important children's book called Bad Touching. Please welcome back to my studio my fabulous Wednesday series Doctors in the House co-host, Dr. Tiffany Tate.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
It is so wonderful to see you. This is my first live show back, and I have to say, I am so happy to be back. Not that I didn't appreciate the break, but certainly to be live in front of you again, all is wonderful. So let's just go right into, that's my first gratitude, taking a bite of my gratitude sandwich. We're going to have breakfast together. And so, Dr. Tiffany, your turn for gratitude. What are you grateful for?
I am grateful to be blessed to live in a country where I am safe in my home and not have to worry about bombs going off in the street.
I am grateful for being in Australia and New Zealand, where honestly, it was safe to walk through Hyde Park at 1 a.m. The streets are safe. I'm grateful. I'm going to do a couple here. I'm grateful for the Prime Minister who, after the shooting in Tasmania, I guess it was 2012, no guns in the country. And it has made such a remarkable impression on me how safe it is over there. So I'm hoping that we'll get that lesson pretty soon. So go ahead, do a couple of gratitudes there.
You know, I am very grateful that both of my children will be graduating, one with their bachelor's and one with their master's, and they are preparing to pursue higher education. one a law degree and one a PhD. So I'm very grateful for my children to be blessed that they are focused on their education and their future. And I'm grateful for my family and friends. And this week, my sorority, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, celebrated 116 years of sisterhood and service to the United States of America and the global world community.
That's fantastic. Congratulations on that. And my last gratitude is that I am still on the air after 610 consecutive weeks. Now, I know I missed 3 weeks. However, I still had shows on. So that's why I still get to say consecutive. And that the people who said a show about hope and happiness, where there's no gossip, no scandal, no K words, no Kanye talk, would not last. And I'm super grateful that they were wrong. Not that I have to be right, but certainly that y'all are still here. And believe it or not, I was recognized halfway around the world. In Australia, a girl came up to me in Bondi Beach and said, I recognize you. You interviewed Halle Berry. She saw that on YouTube. So that was pretty cool. And then I was recognized in New Zealand. I got lost trying to get to my bike tour of Auckland. Asked someone, she pointed out, her and her husband said, just walk with us. And we were walking and talking, and next thing you know, she says, I know you. My coach, my life coach, refers you to everyone as someone to follow on social media because of my positive and happiness. And I was like, oh, what an amazing, I'm getting chills again, to have someone you don't know so positively refer you to people in halfway around the world. So that was
the way, yes.
Oh no, yeah, only good point. Very positive way. So wow, that just blew my socks off.
You don't want to be notorious.
Yeah, no, don't want that. Go ahead, last one.
Yes, and I am very optimistic. I'm very happy to be blessed to see another year, 2024. And it's a great thing.
It is a great thing. Let's go to the bottom of the button, which is, what do you like about yourself? We have been paying a lot of attention to mental health lately in the States, which is a good thing. It is, though, however, my BS, my belief system, that before we reach out for any external soothing, that it is our job to work our own muscles of self-care, self-approval. So that's why we started the bottom of the bun, which is how do you approve of yourself?
Maria put in a gratitude.
Oops, I'm sorry.
Maria put in a gratitude.
Oh, she did?
Yeah.
Thank you. Let's put that in here. I'm grateful for surviving a cold and for a celebration of my 10,000 plus subscribers. That's fabulous, Maria.
Congratulations.
She has a wonderful show I've been a guest on, and it's Tea and Telly. I don't know if I said that absolutely correctly, but you can go ahead and put your particulars on there, and we can get people to subscribe to that and take advantage of your positive show and your kitty cats. I appreciate my ability to be appreciative. What do you like about yourself, Dr. T?
I appreciate the fact that I am beginning to exercise my no and flex my boundary muscles.
You don't say.
Yeah.
I try not to ask you anything. I appreciate my ability to laugh. It is my favorite sound in the world. Not my laugh, but laughter in general. So I appreciate that about myself.
Okay. Well, I appreciate my humor, so I will test it out on you and make you laugh. How about that?
All right. We got one already. I appreciate my ability to take the bumps, and just sort of use my life shock absorbers and things that don't go my way, that had been planned, through no control of mine. My ability to just find the best possible feeling thought and way of looking at something so it doesn't smart so much.
I like that. I like that. And I will say I appreciate my ability to find my voice and speak up on my for myself as well as on behalf of others.
Beautiful. One last one. Maria, you're welcome to do an appreciation. I am appreciative of my my soothing, self-soothing that I have learned how to, when I'm feeling a little bit off kilter, that I know how to change my focus, to use the art of neglect and not think about the things that I don't like and not look at the people that I don't like and just sort of recenter somewhere else until they become who they normally are. Because no one, including myself, is perfect. And 12% of the time, we're just not going to be our normal, one of a kind, wonderful selves.
Yes, control the petty. That's a good way to put it. That's a good thing. That's an awesome thing. I appreciate my ability to share my gifts with others. I cook for people and I try to lend myself out to people, my compassion.
I agree with that. And one last one, Maria's putting in, I appreciate my ability to communicate with animals. So, Maria, your new middle name is Doolittle. We're going to Dr. Doolittle and Maria. And that's it for having breakfast with Dr. Marissa and
Dr. Tiffany Tate.
Here on Doctors in the House special Wednesday series, back live in studio on Take My Advice. I'm not using a gift balance with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind. And there's a topic today. Dr. Tiffany, take it away. What are we pontificating on today?
Well, this is a new year. And with the new year comes many new beginnings. Now, when we talk about new beginnings, a lot of times people rack their brains and say, what do I want to change about myself? And oftentimes we come up with resolutions. And a lot of times these resolutions can come and go, and they can vary from person to person. And what we're going to talk about today, or what are some of the main resolutions, and are these resolutions resolute? And what can we do to maintain them and focus on them and kind of bounce back and get into them when we fall off the wagon? So, it would be a good topic.
Absolutely. I just pulled up the 2024 statistic on New Year's resolutions. I know that you have several that are great that you'll be bringing up. But for this year, they say this is in Forbes, more people cite improved fitness as the top resolution, 48%, compared to improved finances, 38%, improved mental health, 36%, weight loss, 34%. I'm kind of surprised. Usually that's number one. And improved diet, 32%. I'm on a seafood diet. When I see food, I eat it. Women, 36%, and men, 36%, equally cite improved mental health as a top resolution for 2024. Yay! Breakfast with Dr. Marissa then is your prescription. Interesting. Your turn. Go ahead. I know you have a bunch of really great statistics to share.
Well, my thing is instead of mainly numbers, it's what do people feel about the resolutions? Because you can talk about numbers, but it's more insightful to talk about the rationale about why people want to do what it is that they want to do. Because if you really delve into the psyche behind it, then you can get back to the feeling and the rationale to whether or not they can actually adhere to being successful in achieving that goal. And it's hard to stick to a resolution and stay with it because the statistics show that most people stop the resolution within 2 to 3 months into the year. And when you start the year, you're gung ho. When you go to the gym, you're gung ho. Now, I do water aerobics about 4 to 5 days a week, sometimes 6 days a week, but definitely 4 to 5 days a week. And the class is usually packed. But as the year goes on, classes and attendance practically fall off. And if you start to delve into why people fall off, you have to say, okay, people get busy, they come up with various excuses, but their heart was really in it in the beginning. And you can say, okay, what can we do to help people be more resolute with their resolutions? And that is, should we resolve with resolutions? I myself no longer make resolutions. When I was younger, I did. I made resolutions every year. Now my resolution is to be a better me than I was the next year. I find that it's easier for me to do that. That way I don't let myself down. And a lot of times people stop with the resolution and it's hard for them to get back on it and commit to it because they felt, okay, well, I've already stopped. I can't do it again because I've already stopped and I might as well just let it go. And you don't have to let yourself down because you've already let yourself down.
Yeah.
The only person you have to please is you. And I figured, okay, should we resolve resolutions? Are resolutions really resolute? How can we attack this? Because it's all in your mind, and the only person you have to really please is you.
Yeah, yeah, true. The all or nothing works against you when you make any kind of promises to yourself. And I'll just use myself as a realistic example. I remember trying to quit smoking, and it was one of the hardest things I ever had to do. And I know there's people who say, oh, okay, in the new year, I'm not going to smoke, or in the new year, I'm not going to eat unhealthy things, or in the new year, I'm just going to watch my weight. I'm not going to have this, I'm not going to have that. And you go in gung ho, as you said, Dr. Tiffany. I am resolute. I am definitely not going to, and I'm going to set up systems where I'm not going to have anything in the house that will, counter my resolution. And that is, I believe, made by, your balanced centered self who knows what's good for you and knows that you shouldn't probably do that or eat that or whatever it is. And then 3 weeks in, we start to falter, and that critic or the brat, I would say, starts talking. My brat says things like, what do you mean you can't have that Krispy Kreme donut? What do you mean you have to go work out in the gym? What do you mean you have to, who's the boss of me? You're not the boss of me. And then the critic is like, you can't do it. You've tried doing this before, but you're gonna fall apart. You're gonna pick up that cigarette, and the brat's like, well, what's one cigarette a day? That's not a big deal. That's not gonna kill anybody. And then the next thing you know, you've broken your resolution, you weren't resolute, and then the same voices that said it was okay turn on you and start beating you up. See, told you, the critic says, I told you you wouldn't be able to do this. And the brat's like, well, who the who gives a flying fork through a rolling donut anyways? They're not the boss of you. You can do whatever you want, and good for you. And so the confusion, that balance-centered self, is gone. And then we go extreme. Well, you might as well just gain 50 pounds because nobody really, you can't, you just let it go. Just let it go. Just quit trying. And that I call the labyrinth, or that's the trap of perfectionism. Perfectionism, procrastination. I've always wanted to be a procrastinator, but didn't get around to it. And then paralysis. Why bother? Because I'm going to fail anyways. So yes, I agree. Absolutely. It's the mind that messes you up. And in my balanced approach that I talk about all the time, that's in the book, 8 Ways to Happiness from Wherever You Are. I'll give you a little plug. I stole that of the books, Dr. Tiffany. So the book sightings that I had in Sydney, they all gone. So we ran out of books, which is great. I'm really grateful for that. But that is the formula to explain for me why it's so difficult, or why people fall off the bandwagon in about 3 weeks. Go ahead.
Oh, absolutely. Because when you start out, with the resolutions, New Year resolutions, you think about where I want to see myself in the future. And you have this beautiful idea. You're thinking, okay, I'm X weight. I want to be Z weight. And I can see myself with this different type of shape or this different type of figure. But then you do see this beautiful dessert in front of you. And that willpower is like, well, okay, I'll take a pinch, then I'll take a bite, and then the whole dessert is gone. And while you're conflicted, and it's really hard for you to try to embrace that wellness idea because you have all these different emotions and you have the gremlins in your belly going off that are like, feed me. And you just don't know what it is that you really want to do because you are fighting yourself on the inside. And I think that when you're trying to decide what you want to do, when you go to the gym, how much time do you want to spend at the gym? When you're trying to decide, okay, I'm going to write this book this year. I'm going to dedicate this amount of time every day, every week, what it is I'm going to do. I think it's hard to figure out what it is you want to do. So when you make a resolution to be true to yourself, there's that statement, to thine own self be true. How is it that you're going to be true to you? The only person who can truly be true to you and love you is you. So when you're trying to say, I'm going to make a resolution, do you want to make a resolution or do you want to make a promise to yourself? And if you're going to make a promise to yourself, do you want to make a whole laundry list of things? Or do you want to make one thing at a time and make it practical? And when I was looking up different things about what you can do to make yourself successful, um, in keeping your resolutions, I found a myriad of what you can do to help you through this. And it
And,
was
and we have a comment here from one of your sisters
okay.
that will, before you go through that myriad of list, she says, yes, the flesh is weak. LOL. Thank you, Jerry, for that comment. It is absolutely weak. My flesh is particular. It has weaknesses for certain things, designer, or certain things, Chinese food for sure. And I think that is part of the process, is to be kind and not say you will never have whatever it is that you really like, that you have a weakness for ever, because then for me it's like a punishment.
Oh
I
yeah.
can never have something that is God given in my life. Like it's there. So the moderation or the balance is certainly the message I'm hearing that you're bringing up as well, Dr. Tiffany, is like not an all or nothing kind of thing.
Oh, absolutely. Even when I would talk to my patients about dieting, I would say you need a treat day, not a treat week, a treat day or a treat meal, depending on what your goal is. You would say, okay, I'm going to diet on these days, and on this day, it's going to be my cheat day or my cheat meal, and I'm going to and plan it. I'm going to have this, this, and this. That way, you have something to look forward to. And it's easier when you're working towards something and you have a goal that you're working towards. And it's easier to incorporate that into your life as well. When you have a desired goal and you have something you're working towards and you have a plan, it's easy to work a plan. But when you're just going through things haphazardly, it makes it a little bit harder because you're like, okay, when am I going to get it? When am I going to get it? Then you're kind of perseverating over it, and that's all you can think about, and it's at the forefront of your mind, and you can't get it off of your mind. And then you have this craving, and you can't move on until you fulfill that craving. So you become, in essence, an addict for it. And sugar
Absolutely.
is my weakness. I love carbs, and so it's like,
Yeah.
okay, I have to have it.
Right. I love that word, perseverating. I don't think I've ever used that. Thank you for that. Love new words. And I think, let's be honest, we're still, oh, we missed the cut line, but usually first half of the show, I like to be real, put the mooch on the table, my Canadian version of talking about the elephant in the room. Uh, for me, it's good to be real about the things that sort of sideline me so that I am 88% good at not having flour. That's my, things that have flour. And I am a little bit gluten intolerant, I think, too, because I'll get bloated. I know that about myself, but there are a lot of things that I like to eat that have that. So 88% of the time, why eight? Eight is a lucky number in Chinese. It's the homophone for good fortune. So double good fortune. 88% of the time, I don't eat those things that I know are not good for me. Now, 12% of the time, which is your cheat day, I do allow myself to have it. But here's the trick here is if I feel like I'm being bad by having those things, then I might as well not have it at all because it's worse to have something that you think is bad and then beat yourself up for it afterwards than to have it at all. So I have this deal with me that 12% of the time I do allow myself and say, I'm going to enjoy the heck out of what I'm eating. I call it being one with my food. If you're on my social, Doc Balance on Instagram, Dr. Marissa everywhere else, then you'll see me actually be one with my food, whether it's good for me or not, because I want to really enjoy that 12% of the time. Because if I'm not enjoying it, I might as well not have it because I'll beat myself up more than the enjoyment of having it. So I just want to stick that in there.
Oh, absolutely. Because you, like I said before, you have to enjoy you and be satisfied with you.
Yeah,
And,
absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
so if you're going to put yourself in a jail cell and punish yourself for it, then just don't do it. And when it comes to your resolutions, it's easier if you pick one thing and stick with it. If you make a laundry list of things you want to do, there's a high probability that you're not going to succeed. As you put in the promo, I think the statistic is like 9% of people stop their resolutions. And they definitely don't make it through the entire year. They stop it within a few months. So if you want to be successful, pick one thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Not, yeah, only 9%. So 93%
Mhm.
don't follow. Only 9%. That's pretty high. There's a question for you here. What's the difference between resolutions and goals? Good question. Go for it.
Okay, a resolution is something that you're stating as a matter of fact. It's like, be it resolved that this is what I'm going to do. It's like it's a matter of fact that you're going to do it. A goal is just something you plan to achieve, and it's something that you're aiming for and you're shooting for. And it makes it a little bit more flexible, and I think it takes a lot less pressure off of it. And I believe that it makes it easier for people to work toward. And if you do it one goal at a time, you're more likely to be successful.
Mhm.
And I believe I found a mnemonic on the internet. It's called SMART, and it stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. And that's what they recommended that you use when you're working toward your goals. And I don't know if you wanted to type that out, Dr. Marissa.
Yeah, I'm on it.
So SMART, and it
Is
stands for specific, measurable,
one measure. Oops. Measurable. Uh-huh.
achievable,
Achievable. Yep.
relevant,
Relevant. ANT or ENT?
A&T,
Got it.
and
And time.
time bound. And so when you're working towards a goal, and if you wanted to apply it to a resolution, you could, but specifically towards a goal. So say for instance, if I'm going to write another book, I can say, I'm going to write this book. I want to have it written within the next 3 months. That is the goal that I'm giving myself. But if it's done in 4 months or 5 months, it's okay. But I'm giving myself a goal, and goals can be flexible, but it's a measurable thing that I can do. It is something I feel that is achievable, and it's relevant to something that I can do. And I've put something that's within a time specific period.
Mhm.
It, or if I said, okay, I want to lose 5 pounds within the next month or two. It's something that is specific, it's measurable. I can say, okay, I'm going to cut back my calories, I'm going to exercise 3 times a week, I'm going to eliminate bread and cut back on my sugar, or eliminate sugar and bread from my diet. I'm going to have meatless Mondays, fish Fridays, and increase my water on Wednesdays. I'm going to do these things, and this is going to help me lose that extra 5 pounds. And then I'm going to measure my waist and see, either I'm going to lose X amount of weight, or I'm going to lose at least a half inch off of my waist. So these are measurable things that I can actually measure and see what my dietary changes have yielded me. So these are things that I can do that will actually yield results. So
Mhm.
that's where that SMART thing comes in.
Cool. To piggyback for Jerry and your question, I think the way that Dr. Tiffany has been presenting the resolution versus goal is resolutions are a little harder on ourselves, and they're very absolute, all or nothing, whereas goals are a little softer and have a little wiggle room, so that we're not like beating ourselves up should we not follow the resolution perfectly. Is that about what you've been presenting? So it's definitely um, what we want to do. The fundamental is be kind to ourselves. I think when we do set ourselves up for almost failure with resolutions, that's the part we're trying to encourage those who are tuned in right now to take my advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, NBC News Radio, AM at 1050 FM 106.5 and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, and my free subscribe YouTube TV channel, where you can not only listen but watch and comment as well. And we are talking about resolutions. Did you like the way I segued into that and remember to do it? We're talking about resolutions and how people fall off that bandwagon a lot of the time. It's because we're trying to be perfect. We're trying to do something that isn't necessarily realistic and achievable. And I will totally put myself on the bucket list or bathtub list of I've lost thousands of pounds because I make these very unrealistic goals, unrealistic resolutions that are almost impossible to do. And what happens is it's like the yo-yo diet. You know, I won't have it, 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 and then I break because of the brat and the critic, and then I just overboard it, and so lose, 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 gain, 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 lose, 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 gain, 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 and I lost 35 pounds a year and a half ago, and I was really proud of myself. And I've put on half of that, and I'm not happy with myself. But instead of beating myself up, like I got on the scale this morning after 3 weeks away down under, and I did gain weight, and I said, okay, instead of saying, you're there you go again. Critics like, yeah, you're always going to be fat. You're always going to be overweight. Your mom was right. You're fat, ugly, and clumsy. Instead of going there, I take a breath. My balance centered self says, you've done it before. You can do it again. You know what the formula is. You're going to be 88% kind. You're going to, again, go back to the formula 88% less flour. You're going to do more workout. This morning, you give yourself a break because you were on an 18-hour flight yesterday. And so you just let your body accidentally sleep in past the workout time. And I'm not going to beat myself up about it. I'm going to be able to do the best that I can. And here's something that I actually encourage my happiness coaching clients to write and put on their bathroom mirror. So I'll type it in, which is, have I done the best that I can with the time that I have and the resources I have? And the answer is most of the time, yes. So have I done the best that I can with the resources I have and the time that I have? And most of the time, yes. Good job. Right arm up, over, good job. That is my balance-centered self, soothing my critic off of the driving seat into the passenger seat and understanding that I am imperfectly perfect 88% of the time. I can meet my goals, and that's good enough. Maybe not for the pilot on the plane that's flying my plane, but for me and what I'm doing and what I'm looking at in the weight loss, which is like a lifelong journey, that is an opportunity for me to soothe and be kind to myself. End of soapbox. Sorry. Go ahead.
Now, another thing, even if it's, spending less money or whatever, but there are tips for people who definitely want to stick with resolutions. Remember just to change one behavior at a time and identify different things that you want to eliminate and add them into your habits and plan for setbacks because you're going to have them. And when you have the setbacks, don't let them set you back permanently. Be willing to be flexible and to get back on the bandwagon and plan for reward strategies, like we were saying. When you do achieve a goal, reward yourself, whether it's a pat on the back, whether it's a trip to a store, your favorite store. Just remember to treat yourself. Also, remember it takes a good 66 days to create a new habit. So,
Oh, really? I
because
thought it was 41. They changed it?
it's a good 66 days to create a new habit. And UC Davis, the experts at UC Davis, says that the following things can help you be successful. It says be picky about your resolutions, Be very specific. Don't take on too much. Um, and identify accountability partners. So that will help you if you were to identify accountability partners and give your resolution time to become your habit. So I think it's very important for you to take all those things into account when you choose a resolution or choose a goal, because I think having some support person to cheer you on is always good. Teamwork makes the dream work.
Teamwork makes what?
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Ah, love it, love it, love it. I just wrote this down there. This is one of the best Happy 88 tools that people seem to really gravitate and use and reap the rewards from. Have I done the best that I can with the time that I have and the resources I have? Yes, therefore be kind. Sorry, typo, to yourself. There you go. I'm 88% on that. I'd also like to use this opportunity to invite all of you, if you haven't done any resolutions or if you've fallen off the bandwagon, I'm going to insert one that will not give you calories of any kind. It's called the 21-day fast from complaining. So if you want to change this year, if you're a person who is just constantly worried or constantly, complaining, it makes your ears hurt when you hear other people complaining. You're in a relationship with someone who complains all the time. This is a great tool to use. If you cannot complain for 21 consecutive days, I actually give you money. So go to drmarissa.life and register there. It's a $21 donation to my nonprofit, 8 Ways to Happiness, which helps kids and teens who have temporarily forgotten their birthright to happiness. If you register, $21, and then 21 consecutive days, not complain. 5 people have done this already all over the world. I started this in 2011. There's a Facebook group that helps you with that. And there's 21 days worth of helpful videos on my playlist to help you with this. So if you want to try something a little bit different that's not got to do with weight or health, eating healthy, this is for you. And I promise the side effects may involve a little more laughter, a little more happiness. I had one person who actually told me they had better sex because neither in the couple were complaining so much and they were appreciating each other. And so, hey, you just never know what's going to happen if you join the 21-day fast from complaining with Dr. Marissa.
Sounds awesome. I say sign up, people.
Good. Do you want to sign up? Do you want to try it? Yeah?
Yes. I could do that.
I think I should challenge all of my co-hosts.
Yes, but I kind of like complaining. It's like right.
Yeah, I invited my 89-year-old mom to try it, and she goes, "That's okay. I think I'm fine."
I want to complain. Have you watched?
Oh no!
I know you haven't watched the news. Have you heard the news? I need to complain.
Exactly. That's why I don't watch the news. Welcome, Troy Pacelli. He's saying that he's missed the Dr. Marissa show. It's so nice to have you. I actually tuned into his show when I was traveling in Australia, and he had a little bit of a funny reaction. He couldn't believe that I was tuning in from, I guess I was in Australia at the time. But welcome back to the Peanut or Cashew Gallery. Maria was in the Cashew Gallery earlier. We've got Jerry. Where's Jerry hailing from? I know she's
in the Empire. She's local. She's here.
IE in the IE. Well, welcome to all of our streamers. We love you. Just go to drmarissa.life, free subscribe, and you'll get the ability to get some love here on the show. And did you have more? We're coming up on our last final I know you prepared a lot for this.
Yes, 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 yes. And so basically, I wanted to say again, when people are preparing for their resolutions and or resolving their resolutions, like moi, I think it's important to see where you are and see where you want to be in the future. And when you do fall off, because the probability and statistics suggest that you are likely to fall off, be willing to get back on, be willing to mold and modify your resolutions and create new ones. And it's okay because the only person you have to satisfy is you, and be true to yourself. And I think that when you are willing to make a new resolution and or a new goal, think about what you want to do with yourself. Again, life is dynamic and is always changing, as is the world. And when you move forward and you set that goal and you set a timeline for it and a timeline for your future, and you achieve it and you are victorious in it, you won't be sad. You can always move forward.
Good job. Good words. Be kind to yourself. That's my make that a resolution for this year. Be kind to yourself. Put your critic in the passenger seat and see how that feels. I love that African American saying. Um, if there is no enemy within, then no one outside of you can hurt you. So that's why we start with breakfast with Dr. Marissa on this show. I want you the bottom of the bun before you go to bed tonight. Don't think about all those things that you failed at. Don't think about all the things that you still haven't achieved. Don't think about the criticisms that people have had for you. Try to be kind to yourself and say, oh, well, okie dokie, I'm not perfect. I stepped in it, but 88% of the time I don't. Oh, well, I messed up. I didn't follow my resolution today, but did I do the best that I could with the time that I have and the resources I had? Absolutely, I did. And so good on me. And tomorrow, here's a tool for you. I use this with my kids. They still use it. I'm so glad. Which is, let's say you have a major whatever slip up or back pedal or whatever it is, then say, I can start this day over at any time. You don't have to wait until tomorrow. If you have an argument in the middle of the day and it feels crappy, the sooner you apologize for your part, the better you're going to feel. I promise. If you keep it insisting on how you were right, it's going to keep that dynamic and that tug of war alive. It's not going to feel good. It doesn't feel good to be right when you're making the other person wrong. Just trust me. The faster you can get to, okay, let's agree to disagree, or I'm sorry that I shouldn't have said that. Don't say, and you shouldn't have said that, but I shouldn't have said that, and I apologize for that, or I'm sorry that this happened, which is a little bit of a cop out, but is better than nothing. Then we can start the day over again. You can start the day at any time, start the day over. And that really helped my relationship with my daughters. We didn't have to go to sleep angry. We could really have a great day, even if we had an argument first thing in the morning. So even if you fall off your resolution first thing in the morning, you can get back up and say, we're going to start this day over. And then it will feel better, I promise.
hmm And remember, you don't have to do an overhaul of your life. Making a resolution is not changing you. You can always be you. You are perfect as you are. A resolution and or goal is just being a better version of you. And only you know what a better version of you looks like. So again, you do not have to overhaul who you are. Just decide where you want to be in the future. Do you want more money in your pocket? Try to spend less. Try to save more. If that's something easy. Well, maybe not for me. I like to spend money. But but uh, even for me, I can try to cut back. I can try to save more. I can do better. We can all do better. We can all make little modifications. And it's just a matter of being real with ourselves, holding up that mirror and looking in it and saying what it is that I want to do and where it is that I want to see myself in the future. And like I said, I stopped making resolutions. It's okay for you to keep making them if that's where you want to be. And it's okay if you fall off the wagon. Just get back on it. And don't say, oh, just forget about it. I'm not going to go with that goal. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to start over again.
Yeah, yeah, that all or nothing thinking, and perfectionism is a dis-ease, and I'll be the first one. I have that dis-ease. I work on it. I try to be perfect, and that is a dis-ease because I'll be happy when I'm this weight. I'll be happy then when I have this much money. I'll be happy when, and I'll tell you that when keeps moving and is the highlight of the dis-ease. So if I can say that I'm imperfectly perfect, that I am 88% fabulous, 12% of the time I step in it. Oh, well, then I am happier with who I am. I work religiously, even though not that word in particular, but I am very, very concerted in my effort to be okay with my imperfections. And when I do that, then I'm not as angry when I fall off the wagon. When I fall off the wagon, I can say, okie dokie, this is the part that makes me human. And then when I have an interaction with someone who is off their wagon, I can also say, okie dokie, they're normally not this blank. So I'm just going to cut them at 12% slack right now. And that will also absolutely help. I'm going to leave you with my final word, the tool called that I learned from Dr. David Simon, who was the co-founder of the Chopra Center with Dr. Deepak Chopra. I was honored to be at his living memorial. And he said something that I try to live every year. I renew it. Before I open my mouth and say anything, I ask myself 3 questions. Is it kind? Is it true? And is it necessary? So that takes out anything brutally honest, right? But I ask myself, first, is it true? Actually, that's the order I ask it. Is it really true? Or did I read it somewhere? Have I done the research? Is this really true? Or is it biased news? That's first. Second, is it kind? I don't care what it is. Is it benefiting for me or that other person to even talk about it? And then 3, is it necessary? I found that 80% of the things that I want to say really are not necessary. So that's my Happy 88 tool. Final word from you?
My final word is it's a new year. Be kind to yourself. Have a happy, prosperous, blessed new year. And no matter what, you are valuable, you are beautiful, you are honorable, and there's nothing that you can do to let you down. Just keep trying to be the best you that you can be. Appreciate yourself, love yourself, and be the best you that you can do. That's it.
Boo.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for tuning in today, especially the streamers who have really been wonderful contributing to the show today. Yes, absolutely happiest, 88% happy on this new year, 2024. It's going to be the best year ever. And thank you so much to my co-host and Doctors in the House, Dr. Tiffany Tate, for joining me live after an absence down under. And let me just take a look at how much time we are in our final minute. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget, tomorrow is Straight Talk with Dr. Marissa and James Hawthorne. I hope you have the best day ever, and it's all about balance. Peace in, peace out. World peace through inner peace. Now go and have the best day. That
Ever.
was, we'll see you tomorrow.